So Steph is still clearly a top 3 point guard in the game at his best, and although I don't doubt whether or not he can still play, I am concerned about his ability to lead this team as the first option. I know everybody's gonna say that people were talking about this last season, and although yes, he was able to do it last season, that doesn't mean that it's not a bigger risk heading into next season. Let's get straight to the first issue, and it's the obvious one. Steph is about to be 38. I don't feel good about our best player being 38. That's a dangerous game that you're playing. Steph broke down in the playoffs against Minnesota, and a big part of why that is because of the mileage and the wear and tear of playing the amount of basketball that he's playing at his age. He was coming off of a grueling series against Houston, and it was clear that he was starting to wear down even before the injury. After game 3 or 4 in the Houston series, Steph was slowing down in every way. He was less aggressive, made poor decisions out of the pick and roll, couldn't handle the ball coming up the court, etc. This type of issue can very well reoccur next season, cause you know Steph, if he's not injured, he's gonna look to play 65 plus games next season. He's not no load management type of dude. If you play that amount of basketball heading into the playoffs at 38, you're pretty much risking yourself to potentially be back in the same scenario. Not to mention, the dude had a ton of injuries in the regular season. Like he had thumb issues, knee issues, wrist issues. He spent a good majority of games just laboring and kind of getting through it rather than playing hard and competing. Again, things like this can happen again next season. Matter of fact, the risk is going to be higher. And given the fact that he's your best player, can you really afford for him to not play his best on every given night? I mean, we saw a small sample of a Jimmy Butler-led Warriors team, and it's not great. The ball stops moving with Jimmy on the floor. He plays slow. He's not a jump shooter. The only game he was able to lead was against Milwaukee. The Atlanta game was diabolical. The Miami game was even more diabolical. And the Minnesota series was garbage. And who knows if the guy even feels comfortable leading on this team. He's very selective on when he wants to be aggressive. But something I've touched on since the beginning of last season is the fact that Steph is no longer as agile and as quick on his first step as he once was. Losing his quickness is going to make him much more vulnerable to mismatches. More and more teams will look to switch their bigs out onto him, and doing that just 3 or 4 seasons ago was pretty much a death sentence. Because one of Steph's underrated qualities was that he was quick. So if you switch even a semi-mobile big onto Steph, it was wraps because he has such a quick release from logo range that you had to crowd his space, but then he would just blow right by you and get to the rim. Guys like Rudy Gobert and AD used to get cooked bad by Steph. Now Steph struggles a little more with these matchups, and in return, it's going to put more pressure on his jump shooting ability. If he has trouble getting by a big, he's going to be forced to settle for a ton of tough, contested, and smothered shots, which is not what you want because you want the defense to pick their poison, and you just take what the defense gives you. So pretty much, I'm not worried about whether Steph is going to be at least an all-star next season. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm worried about whether or not Steph can lead this team, given his age and lack of foot speed, against the best teams, against the best defenses in the world as the first option. Can he replicate the same production, or even close to it, during his prime seasons? I think it's very likely that you can see either Steph just breaking down earlier next season, or he might struggle to produce at a superstar level. And people always talk about what Bron and KD are doing at their age, but it's different because Bron is a post-up powerhouse. He's still relatively athletic, he's still a big player, and he's getting better as a jump shooter every season. And KD has the best scoring skill set, being 7 feet. Steph, on the other hand, is 6'3", and he's more vulnerable to decline because his game is so perimeter based. All that cutting, movement, that wears you down a lot. That demands a lot out of your body. And again, with Steph being 38, can he really keep that up at a high level?